All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to crack open a topic that, believe me, affects pretty much everything you buy, from your car to your morning coffee. We're talking about something called the bullwhip effect, and it's the reason our global supply chains can sometimes feel like they're just completely falling apart. I mean, it's a feeling we've all gotten to know, right? And it is so frustrating. You go to the store or you're looking online for something you need, and it's just gone, vanished. Empty shelves where toilet paper used to be, 6-month waiting lists for a new car. You gotta wonder what's going on. Well, I'll tell you, these aren't just random accidents. They're all symptoms of a massive global phenomenon. And that phenomenon has a name, the bullwhip effect. It's actually a perfect name for it. Imagine cracking a whip, right? A tiny little flick of your wrist, it creates this huge, powerful wave that snaps at the other end. Well, in a supply chain, a small ripple in what we, the customers, are buying becomes a total tidal wave for the factories and the people who supply the raw materials. They see a slightly bigger order, which came from another slightly bigger order. And by the time that signal gets all the way to the top, it's just wildly distorted. And the numbers here are they're staggering. Get this. Research shows that a tiny 5% change in demand right there at the retail counter can get misinterpreted by a manufacturer way up the supply chain as a massive 40% shift. 40%, just think about that. The manufacturer starts ramping up production like crazy for a 40% increase in demand that doesn't actually exist. That right there is the heart of the bullet. Now, for decades, the go-to philosophy for trying to manage all this complexity has been something called just-in-time, or JIT for short. It was designed to make supply chains incredibly efficient. But, in the chaos of the last few years, it ended up becoming a prime suspect for why everything broke. So JIT was pioneered by Toyota way back after World War II. And their goal was actually pretty simple, but it was revolutionary at the time. Eliminate everything that doesn't add value. And that meant no wasted material, no wasted movement, and, this is the big one, no wasted inventory just sitting around gathering dust. The whole idea was to build exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. But here's the thing a lot of people miss. JIT isn't just one single idea. It's a whole ecosystem of practices that all have to work together. You've got things like Kanban cards that signal when to make more parts. You have poka-yoke, which is basically mistake-proofing the assembly process. And you have and-in cords that any worker can pull to stop the entire line if they spot a problem. All these pieces are designed to create a super smooth, continuous flow. The critical point is that JIT is a total system, not just some menu you can pick and choose from. And for years, this system was the absolute gold standard. I mean, huge companies from Boeing to McDonald's adopted it. But then the pandemic hit, and this celebrated philosophy suddenly found itself right in the crosshairs, getting blamed for all the global shortages. The story that took hold was really simple and honestly pretty compelling. Companies got so obsessed with being lean and mean, so focused on low inventory, that when a real crisis hit, the whole system was just too brittle. It had no slack, no buffer. The media, for the most part, pointed the finger squarely at JIT for all those empty shelves and factory shutdowns. And the financial damage was, well, it was immense. Just look at the auto industry. The chip shortage, which everyone was blaming on JIT principles, led to an estimated $210 billion in lost revenue in 2021 alone. So the pressure was really on for companies to ditch JIT and switch to a just-in-case model, basically just hoarding inventory. But was JIT really the villain here? Or was this whole thing just a fundamental misunderstanding of what the philosophy is all about? To figure that out, let's just tackle the biggest myths head on. Okay, so the biggest, most common myth is that JIT means having absolutely zero inventory. None. But that's just not what it is. The goal isn't to eliminate all inventory, it's to eliminate wasteful inventory. You hold exactly what you need to keep production flowing smoothly and to protect against, normal everyday ups and downs. Not a single part more than that. And you want a killer example that completely proves this point? Look no further than Toyota themselves, the inventors of JIT. After the Fukushima earthquake back in 2011, they took a hard look at their supply chain and realized semiconductors were a huge vulnerability. So what did they do? They built a strategic stockpile of up to 6 months' worth of certain chips. Now, was this them abandoning JIT? No way. This was a perfect, brilliant application of JIT's core idea. You identify a risk to your smooth production, and you create a necessary buffer. The other big myth is that you can just cherry pick the parts of JIT you like. You say, ooh, I like the lower inventory part, but you don't do the hard work of building the rest of the system, like really close supplier relationships and intense quality control. But when you do that, you don't get a lean system. You just get a fragile one. Its real strength comes from all the parts working together in harmony. So if just abandoning JIT isn't the answer, then what is? How do we build supply chains that are both super efficient and tough enough to handle a crisis? Well, the thinking has definitely evolved. The modern approach really adopts JIT with a three-part strategy. It's all about being smarter with your buffers, about segmenting your supply chain for different kinds of needs, and using technology to get real, actual visibility into what's happening way upstream. First off, let's redefine what we mean by buffers. It's not just about hoarding piles of inventory. A true buffer could be having extra production capacity that you can just switch on when you need it. Or, even better, having the capability, the engineering know-how, the right relationships to quickly build new capacity when a crisis really hits. True resilience comes from having options, not just bigger warehouses. Second, you can't manage all your products the same way. It just doesn't work. For routine, predictable stuff, think toothpaste. A lean JIT approach is absolutely perfect. But for critical emergency supplies, like, say, PPE, you need a completely separate supply chain, one that's built for rapid response, not day-to-day efficiency. Trying to make one system do both of those things, it's just a recipe for failure. So the crucial takeaway is this. We've been asking the wrong question the whole time. It's not a choice between being lean or being safe. The real goal is to design a system that fuses the two together, so you get both efficiency in normal times and resilience when things get turbulent. At the end of the day, the lesson here isn't that just-in-time is dead. Far from it. The real challenge now is to take its core philosophy, that relentless focus on eliminating waste and creating smooth flow, and apply it to our modern, incredibly unpredictable world. The question isn't if we should be lean anymore. It's how can we be lean and resilient at the very same time? And the bigger question for all of us is, are our systems actually ready for that challenge?